Hello everyone, welcome back to my another video. On this video we will be looking into array functions, all of the useful array related methods that we can use in JavaScript. So this video should provide you all of the things that you need to get started with using array related methods. So this should be it actually, because I believe, if I'm not wrong, I have included almost 20 methods here. So this should give you a solid foundation of what you need to do when dealing with arrays. So you can go ahead and learn, like a lot of frameworks like React or Angular, but at the end of the day, these are the foundation that's going to help you succeed on your JavaScript journey. So without further ado, let's get started on today's video. So over here, I just have a array called temporary, which is numbered from 1 to 10. And I have added a bunch of comments so that I can save some time on the video. And I'm gonna push this code later on the GitHub, and that way you guys can access this. And all I'm doing over here is console logging the new array. And in order to run this project, we're just going to use the node and just name the file script.js. And okay, it says new array is not defined, but that's fine for now. We're going to deal with it. All right, now let's start with map function. So what map does on array is it iterates. It helps us to iterate over the elements within an array, and we can perform our actions accordingly, and based on that it returns a new array. So what do I mean by that? So I'm just going to do let new array equals to, and I'm going to iterate over this temporary dot map, and over here you can pass a callback function. So on this particular example, I'm going to show you the traditional approach for callback function, and then I'm going to switch it to our arrow function syntax, and that's what we're going to be using on the entire video. So the way to pass the callback function is you can just type functions, and it takes an argument of element, and here you can just say return element times 2. So basically what we're doing is we are iterating over the temporary using map, and we are passing the callback function, which takes the element as an argument. So on the first iteration, element would be 1, on the second one 2, and so on and so forth. And we're just basically multiplying that item by 2. So what it should give us as a new array is all of the items should be multiplied by 2. So let's see. As you can see, I see this all of the numbers, so from 2 to 20 basically, which are multiplied by 2. So how do we make this a little bit pretty? We're going to use the arrow function syntax. I can get rid of this function and get rid of this curly braces, and I'm going to use a arrow over here, and instead of return I can just do direct return. And I'm going to get rid of this semicolon as well. So that cleans up a code a lot, and that's the syntax we'll be using on this entire video. I just wanted to show you guys it's possible to do on all of the ways. So if I do node script.js, I should see the same result. Alright, that's good. Now let's move on to forage. So basically forage does the same thing like the map does, but the only difference is forage does not have a return type, or it does have a return type but it returns undefined. So what do I mean by that? If I do let a new array equals to temp, oh man, I can't type today. Oh, I can't do let because I already declared that one. Let's just do new array equals to temporary dot for it. So the syntax is same, element, and over here if I do element times 2, then since I'm logging this new array, right, what I would do is if I run the script, I will get undefined. So other use case can be, you can just console log this value, here do like that. If I do that, what it should give me is it will multiply all of the items in an array and it will log those values. These are all the regular numbers. They are not an array, if that makes sense. All right, I'm gonna switch back to the previous implementation so that I don't mess up my log. So you might be thinking, what's the difference? What's the use case of the forage? Let's say there are some of the times you don't need a new array, rather you just need a element reference, or you just want to make sure, or at least you have 10 items in the array, then it doesn't matter what you do with the items within that array, but if you need that item's length to do some sort of other operations, you can use forage. If you use a regular for loop, it might get a little bit messy and that doesn't look good at all. All right, now we're gonna move on to filter. Filter is one of the really useful function for arrays. So what it does is you can pass a certain filter criteria. Based on that, it returns a new array consisting of the elements which matches the filter criteria. So what I can do is I'll just do new array equals to temporary dot filter. Syntax is the same. It takes the element, and here I'm going to use the arrow syntax, and now I can pass the filter criteria. Let's say I want the element which is divisible by 2. Basically, we are looking for even numbers, equals to 0. So if I do that, out of these elements, I should see only the even numbers, and it should append those items within a new array variable that we have. And if I do node script.js, I will see all of the items with the even numbers in it. Now we can extend this further. Let's say if we want to filter it even more, we can. I'm going to use an AND operation over here, and what I'm going to do is element should be greater than or equal to 5, basically. Let's not do greater than or equal to. Let's just do greater than, because it doesn't make sense. 5 is an odd number. So if I run this again, what it's going to do is it's going to check for this condition. So each element should be divisible by 2, and each element should be greater than 5, and it will return a new array out of it, which is in this case is 6, 8, and 10. All right, let's move on to sort. So this sort function is really helpful if you don't want to write your own sorting algorithms. You can sort based on ascending and descending order, and I'm just going to show you how to do that. So this syntax might look like a little bit funky, but I'm going to show you a trick to figure out how to go with this sort approach. Syntax is simple. It's just gonna it's gonna return an array as well. So I'm gonna do new array. I'm gonna do temporary dot sort. Inside that, it takes 2 arguments, a and b. So basically it refers to first and the second element, and all you need to do is within that arrow function, if a is greater than b, then we're going to use the ternary operator, and then it will return 1, else it will return -1. So what we are doing over here is sorting by ascending order. So basically the way to remember is, let's say if a is greater than b, and if you do a minus b, what is the return type? Is it negative or the positive? It's positive, right? So that goes on the if block, and negative goes on the else block. That's how I like to remember, and you guys can use the same thing. Now if I do node script.js, as you can see, I'm getting I'm getting the same array. So let's say I want to switch it, so I'm going to switch this to -1 and this to +1. I should see the items in the descending order. As I already mentioned over here, it sorts by ascending. So let me do this, so that way you guys won't confuse if you guys ever want to check out this code on GitHub. All right, now let's look at the join. And hold on. So before moving to join, I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna add a comment here. Looks like I missed to add the comment for reduce, and this is the really important function as well, so I want to cover it. So when do you use the reduce? So let's say when you are interested in a single value rather than the array itself by performing some sort of operation within an array, you want to use the reducer. It returns a single value after some sort of operation within an array elements. All right, now what we are interested over here is we are interested in getting the sum of the array that we have over here. So how do we do that? Using reduce. So the way to do it, I'm just gonna use the new array variable over here, but keep in mind that it does not return an array. Right now we're just interested in sum. I don't want to create a new variable so that, and like add it as a console log. So I just don't want to go with that hassle. That's why I'm using this name. Keep that in mind. What we can do is a temporary dot reduce, and as an argument it takes two things, a and b. Basically all you need to do is a plus b, and optionally you can pass a second argument over here after your regular function, and that will be the reducer itself, not the reducer, like the result, or like the initial value of what you're trying to achieve. Since we're trying to achieve the sum out of our array, our initial value should start with 0. So if I do that, let's see, I'm sorry, I mistakenly clicked on the speaker thing, so I don't know if it caught my voice, but let's see. All right, okay, we're right here. So as I mentioned, this is going to be the initial value. Now if we run the script again, we should see the number 55 over here, which is the sum, but we don't know if the number is 55 or not. But let's make it simpler. I'm gonna get rid of this one, and I will only have 1 2 3 there, and the sum should be 6 in this case, and that's what it is. I'm going to bring back that array, and that's pretty much it on reduce. All right, now we did sort, now we did reduce, now we are on to join, right? So basically what join does is, let's say if you have an array and if you run the join operation on it, and what you can do is on the join operation you can pass a argument where you can provide, like based on your use case, you can provide any sort of string there, and that will separate its items within an array. So what do I mean by that? So let's say if you had items within an array which has 1 2 3 in it, and if you run the join with empty string, what it's going to do is it's just going to join all of the items in the array, and your output will be 1 2 3, but that won't be an array, it will be a string. But let's say if you pass a slash for your join operation, and what it will do is it will return you the number of each element separated by that slash. Okay, let me show you an example. Over here too, I'm just going to use the same variable, but keep in mind that it does not return an array. I'm going to do temporary join. Let's do it empty string first, and if I run this, as you can see, it started with 10 9 8 7 and so on. All right, now what I want to do is, let's say I want to join by slash. Hold on, did I reverse the array? Oh, I reversed here, right? I'm gonna get rid of this because that looks awkward. It's going to descending here. It's going to be ascending. All right, let's do it again. And now on the join operation, right, I provided the slash. So what it did was on each item within the array, before concatenating it, it added that separator over here. Now if I do dot here, it's just gonna separate it by, like based on that, just like that. It is really useful when you're trying to extract the string out of the elements within an array. Now includes. So includes is quite handy if you are trying to do a quick search and you're just interested in some sort of boolean value, and rather don't care about like what are the actual search contents or what is the operation that you want to perform. Then you want to use include in that case. So I'm just going to use the same variable again, and keep in mind it returns the boolean value, not the array itself. I'm going to do temporary dot includes, and you can pass an argument of what is the thing that you're trying to search for. Let's say I'm trying to search for the number 10 from my array. Then if I do that, I should get the true, because we have a 10 number in there. Let's say if I do 100, I should see the false. Yep, just like that. And this is quite handy if you're just interested in the Boolean value. Alright, now let's move on to find. So what find operation does is it returns the first occurrence of the element of the provided like condition. Basically it's similar to filter, but what filter does is if it filter like iterates through all of the arrays until it finds all of the elements, and that's when it returns an array. But find will look for the condition. As soon as the first as soon as the condition is satisfied on first occurrence of the element, it will stop there. Let's say if I was searching for number 2, and if I had number 2 over here as well, I'm just making this up, and let's say the condition will be met right here, right when the array starts iterating. It won't bother going through all of the elements. It will stop right here and return me this. Alright, now let's see how we can implement that. Alright, right here I'm just going to use the same new array here as well. I'm just going to do new array dot temporary dot find. It will take the element as argument, and we're going to use the arrow function. So right now the source criteria is element dot not dot element mode 2 equals to 0. So we're trying to find the even element. So if I do that, I will just get 2. Although there are a bunch of stuff which are divisible by 2, since it finds the first element right here, it will just return that. And let's say if I want to extend this a little further, I can attach a bunch of logical operations over here. I can just do ampersand for an operator, and I can say elements should be greater than 5. So in this case it should return me 6, because that is the first even number which matches on both of these conditions. Alright, now we are ready to move on to the next array function, which would be every. So what it does is it checks all of the items in an array and returns the flag. Basically, if the condition is met, then it will return true. If the condition is not met, then it will return false. You can just do a simple new array again, but keep in mind that it does not return the array itself, rather it returns the flag. I can just do temporary dot every, and over here I'm just going to do element, and the condition that I'm trying to search for is elements should be less than or equal to 10. So basically it should match up for all of the items that we have in an array. So if we run this, it will return true. And in the same case, if I do element mod 2 equals to 0, then if I run this, I'll get false in this case, because all of the items don't match this condition. For this to return true, everything needs to be matching the cases. Alright, so we are done with every as well. Looks like I missed one more function that I wanted to discuss. Let me just add a comment real quick. That is going to be dot concat itself. So basically what this method does is it merges two arrays and returns a new one. So let's say returns new array by merging two arrays. Alright, so the way to use it is I'm just going to use our friend new array here and just do temporary dot, you can use dot concat, and inside that you can pass the second array which you want to merge, which in this case, let's do 11, 12, 13, 14, oops, 14. So what should happen is I should get all of the contents from 1 through 10, which is from the temporary, and after that it will add all of these elements to the end. If I run that, yep, there you go. I will get all of the items in a new array. So order matters in this case. So it matters, like which array you provide before or after. Because if you provide this array before this, meaning like this array dot concat, then temporary, then these items will be on top. Alright, now we are ready to move on to sum function. So what it does is it checks if one of the element, like at least one of the element within the array matches the past condition basically. So the way to use it is I'm just going to use the new array again. And by the way, it does not return the array. So I'm just going to do temporary dot sum, and it will take the element, and let's see if element is equal to 100. So it will try to iterate over the array and check if the element is equal to 100, which in this case is false. Now if I do 2 or 10 here, if I run this, I should get true, because one of the element matches this condition. It doesn't matter, all of the elements matches or not. At least if at least one of the element matches, you will get true, and it will only return true or false. All right, now we can move on to find index. So basically, what it does is it returns the index of the first element which passes the provided test. On all of the most of the operation that we looked at, is to return either true or false, either the element itself or the new array, but it returns the index of that item. So the way to use it is I'm just going to use a new array again, but keep in mind it does not return a new array. It just returns a number, which is the array index. So I'm gonna iterate over temporary dot find index, and I'm just gonna do element again, and here I will pass the condition of element should be let's just do the same example, element mode 2 equals to 0. So what it should do is it should go here, and it will try to find which element is divisible by 2, which in this case is 2 itself. And if it will try to find the index, which in this case is 1 has 0 index, 2 has 1 index. So it should return 1. Let's go here. We are right here. Let's run the script. Yep, as you can see, it returns the 1. All right, now let's look at find index. We just looked at find index. Okay, there are a bunch of things going on here, so I get confused on where we are. Now let's look at index of. So the as the name suggests, it just returns the index of the provided element. So what you can do is you can just do a quick search. So let's say if I had a array with a bunch of names in it, you can pass some name here. You can pass a name within this function, and what it will do is it will find the index of that element. But keep in mind, it won't iterate through all of the array. So as soon as the first index is found matching that condition, it will return that index to you. So the way to use it is I'm going to do new array again, but keep in mind that it does not return a new array. Yeah, I'm saying this a lot, but these are the return types are really important whenever you're dealing with array functions. That's why I keep on stressing this thing. And just to index of, let's say I want to find the index of 5, and if I run this, I should get the 4, because 5 lies on the 4th index. Alright, now let's go and look at the fill method. So the fill method is quite handy whenever you are setting up the default value for your array. On the traditional approach, what you would do is you would do the for loop, where you had to do brackets and everything, like based on that you would insert the default values within like each index. But this fill, I'm going to show you guys in a second, this fill methods makes like things way more easier. So I'm just going to create a new array. I'm just going to use the new array from ours, and I'm just going to use the new array syntax from JavaScript, and I want the array size to be 10. And here now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill this array that I just created here with a number 100 in it. The way to do that is you would just call that function where you want to fill the data, just to fill, and inside as the argument you can just pass the whatever the value that you want to store. If I just do this, it will create a new array, not create, it will fill that array with the value of 100 in it. Alright, now we are moving on to the next function, which is a slice. So as the name suggests, it basically slices an array, and it will return a new array based on the specific range that you can provide. So you can provide a range based on the array index, and it will slice the array and give that back to you. I'm going to use the new array again, and over here since we have a length of 10, what I'm going to do is temporary.slice, and keep in mind it's slice, not splice, so the name matters. We do have like separate function called splice. So over here you can pass 2 arguments to it, which is going to be the range. So right now let's say I'm interested from 0th index to 5 index. So what I should get is a number from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, now that's pretty much it for a slice. Now let's go ahead and work on reverse. And what it does is, as the name suggests, it reverses an array. So it's quite easy to like make a use of it as well. I'm just gonna do new array equals to let's say I want to reverse temporary dot reverse, and you don't need to pass anything. You can just call this function as is. So now what it should do is it should reverse all of the items from an array. Now as you can see, I will start seeing the items from 10 to 1. Alright, now let's look at the push. Now this is the interesting one, because a lot of people might, even though if you might haven't heard about a lot of things that I'm describing today, but a lot of you, so if you're like doing some sort of JavaScript coding, you should know push, because we use it a lot on day-to-day life, especially as a JavaScript programmer. So what it does is, whenever you use push, you can pass a argument where you can pass the elements where what you want to push to a new array, not new array, to the old array. What it does is it will take that argument or that element, and it will append that element to the end of the array where you're trying to push. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the temp array and use dot push, and inside here you can specify the element. So right now let's see if I want to push the number 100. And if I just right here, what I'm going to do is new array equals to temp array, so that my console log picks up this pushed element. If I run this, as you can see, it added the number 100 to the end. Alright, now what we're going to do is now we're going to move into pop. It's exactly the opposite of what push does. So since push adds the item to the end of an array, pop will delete the item from the end of an array. So the way to use pop is I'm just going to use temp array, which is the function, which is the array the way you want to run the pop operation on, and just do pop, and you don't need to pass any arguments. And I'm just going to assign the new array to my temp array so that it will pick up the pop operation. Now if I run this, I should get my previous array back, because here we're adding 100 to the end, and as soon as it reaches here, it will delete the 100 from there. That's why you will see the initial array itself. All right, that's it. That's it from pop as well. And now we can move on to the shift operation. So what it does is it will remove the first element from an array. So here I'm just going to do temp array dot shift, and if I do new array equals to temp array, and so that my console log picks it up. So I believe it should delete the number 10 from here. Yep, as you can see, it only has the number from 9 to 1. All right, let's move on to our last JavaScript function of the day. What Onshift does is it adds the item to the beginning of an array. I had a typo in there. So this is quite handy if you want to insert, like something really quickly on the, as a, like first index. First index so what I mean by first index is the first element in the array. Now the way to use it is just need to call a function where you want to add the item and just run Onshift, and let's say I want to add an item 1000 on the as a first element, and let's use a new array here equals to temp array, so that my console will pick it up. So if I run this, I should see the number 1000 at the beginning of the array. Yep, right there. There you go. Alright, I think that should be it for today's video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push this code to the GitHub so you guys can check it out. So this comment should clarify everything for you as well. And I hope this video has provided you some sort of value. So if you think so, and if you guys want to see more of this, feel free to give a thumbs up to the video and subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys on the next video. Thanks.